With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
I'm Alex Rodriguez.
And I'm Jason Kelly.
From Bloomberg, this is The Deal. Each week, you'll hear us in conversation with business icons.
This show will explore deal-making across sports, media, and entertainment.
That is a harsh lesson in business.
Sports is not as simple as bringing a bunch of big names together.
I didn't want to do another stomp you out speech.
It opened up so many more doors.
The show is called The Deal.
Listen to The Deal.
Listen to The Deal on Spotify.
The Two-Footed Podcast is brought to you by EPLindex.com and our presenting sponsor, Liberty Shield. Liberty Shield is a VPN provider. A virtual privacy network allows you to go online, change your location, access things you're geo-blocked from, while keeping your data safe. So, as an example, if you are a UK expat and want access to BBC iPlayer to watch Match of the Day, or ITV Hub, or all four, but you get that message that says this content is not available in your location, a Liberty Shield VPN gets you around that block, allows you to watch whatever you want on those services while also keeping your data safe. And it goes further than that. It allows you to open up Netflix's entire library by just changing your IP address. Liberty Shield is the #1 rated VPN provider on Trustpilot with 5-star ratings across the board. So go to libertyshield.com right now, use the code EPL25 and get either the hardware package or the software package. The hardware package is a router that you plug into your existing router, and any item you want to change the IP address on, be it your phone or your television, you connect that to the new Liberty Shield router. All other items can remain connected to your existing router. There's also a software package, which is instantly downloadable to your device, and you can get using straight away. Again, libertyshield.com, EPL25 for 25% off at checkout. We're also brought to you by Home of Hopcroft, a giftware and homeware company located in Scotland but shipping worldwide. Check out homeofhopcroft.co.uk and do check out the EPL Index and Anfield Index shops, which you'll find on Etsy. Use the codes EPL10 or RED10 for 10% off at checkout. And lastly, do remember to check out A Tad Predictable, hosted by Tadiwa. That podcast is on this feed before every Premier League match week. And then the EPL Roundtable, hosted by Kevin DeVries, on its own EPL Roundtable feed. So just search EPL Roundtable in your podcast device. And that's out after every match week. Now, on with the show. What's good, boys and girls? Two-Footed Podcast. Today is Tuesday. It is the 9th of April. There's a very blue sky, but a very blustery day outside. But it's much better than yesterday. And the forecast tells me it's going to be much better than what we're getting the rest of the week. So I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the blue sky and not worry about anything else. What we're going to do today, we're going to have a look at the lower leagues, Championship League 1, League 2, and the National League. We'll go to break. We'll come back We'll take a run around Europe. We'll look at some of the madness that took place in Europe over the weekend. And we will also have a look at tonight's Champions League games. And then we'll go to another break and we'll come back with news and gossip. So we will start with the Championship at the weekend, yet another wild weekend. Rotherham 0, Plymouth 1. Norwich 1, Ipswich 0 in the Old Farm derby. Marcelinho Nunes with the only goal of the game there. Blackburn 0, Southampton 0. Leicester City 2, Birmingham 1. Huge win for Leicester City. Dewsbury Hall put them 1 up. Jay Stansfield had equalised just before half-time, but Mavididi with a late winner sends Leicester back to the top of the table. Middlesbrough 2, Swansea City 0. Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0. It's a huge result for Huddersfield. Reece Healy with a late goal to pull them out of the relegation zone. Watford 0, Preston 0. Stoke City 2, West Brom 2 in the Tony Pulis derby. Coventry City 2, Leeds 1. Massive win for Coventry. Big blow for Leeds. Ellis Sims and Haji Wright with the goals. Joel Perreault did pull one back for Leeds, and it looked like they'd find an equaliser, but it just wasn't to be on the day. Cardiff 1, Hull City 3. 2 for Fabio Carvalho, 1 for Jayden Philogene. Carlin Grant with the only goal for Cardiff. Sunderland 0, Bristol City 0. And QPR 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Massive win for Sheffield Wednesday down at the foot of the table. Keeps them very much alive as well. So, Leicester are top, 88 points, 40 games played. They're a point clear of Ipswich and 2 points clear of Leeds, but they do have a game in hand on both, so that could be 4 and 5 points. You would have to say Leicester, with back-to-back wins plus the defeats for Ipswich and Leeds, have put themselves back in the driving seat for promotion. Then there's an 11-point drop to Southampton, 75 points. But they have 2 games in hand on the teams above them. Now, very unlikely that they can catch either Leeds or Ipswich. So they're probably stuck in 4th. Then it's West Brom on 69 points, 41 games played. Norwich, 67 points, 41 games played. Then a 4-point drop to Coventry on 63, but they have a game in hand on Norwich and West Brom. So Coventry potentially still could find their way into the playoffs with a good run, a good finish to the end of the season. They've been in good form, and that win at the weekend was huge. Middlesbrough have found form, I think, too late in the season. They're unbeaten in 5, 3 wins in those 5 games. They're up to 61 points, but they have played 41 games. I think it's unlikely that they catch Norwich at this point. 6-point gap, and Norwich have a significantly better goal difference. Only 5 games left for both teams. I think Middlesbrough have left it too late. I think Coventry are the only risk to Norwich for that 6th spot. Now, West Brom could tumble, and it may be that Norwich and Coventry get in, and West Brom miss out. But West Brom are grinding out results, and if they continue to grind out results, I think they'll do enough to stay in the playoff spots. Hull City, they've got 61 points. They've only played 40, so they are 6 points behind Norwich with a game in hand. It's not outside the realms of possibility that they could get in, but I'm not seeing it at the moment. Then it's Preston on 60, Cardiff on 56, Bristol on 54, Sunderland on 52, Watford on 51, Swansea on 47, Blackburn and QPR and Stoke all on 46. Now, normally you'd look at that and say, well, they should be okay, but those teams sitting 16th, 17th and 18th, Blackburn, QPR and Stoke, they're only 4 points outside the relegation spots. And in this division, any bad run of form could send you down. So they all need to be aware that they're not safe yet. And you could even throw Swansea in on 47, just to 5 points outside the relegation spots. Plymouth on 44, Millwall on 44, Huddersfield on 43. They're the ones just outside the relegation zone at the moment. Birmingham on 42. They've only won one of their last 5 and lost all 4 of the others. Their season has been catastrophic since a very foolish new owner made a very foolish decision to appoint Wayne Rooney as manager. John Eustace was doing a good job. Rooney did a disastrous job. Obviously, then he was replaced by Tony Mowbray, but Mowbray has been on medical leave. I'm not really sure whether Mowbray is going to come back. He is due to come back at the beginning of next season. Are they willing to stick with that? Now, Mark Venus is his assistant manager, but for some reason, he was put on leave as well when Mowbray went. And Gary Rowett came in as the interim manager. And Gary Rowett obviously had been there, I believe, before. Yeah, Gary Rowett had been there before. And they've just been on a disastrous run, like a really disastrous run. So Birmingham, I'm very concerned about. I think they're trending in one direction. Now, Sheffield Wednesday haven't been good either. 1 win, 1 draw, 3 defeats in the last 5. But they've shown more of an ability to win games than Birmingham, than Huddersfield, and Millwall and Plymouth. Now, there's only 1 game more than Plymouth, Millwall, and Birmingham, but you can win games at this time of year. It is far more beneficial than a draw. Huddersfield are the toughest to beat down there. They've only lost 16 games, which, if you look at the league table, Preston are 10th. They've lost 14 games. Everybody below them, other than Watford, who've lost 14, has lost more games than Huddersfield. And even above Preston, Middlesbrough have lost the same amount of games as Huddersfield. Huddersfield's issue has been they've drawn 16 games, which is by far the most in the division. If they could have turned a couple of them into wins, they'd be safe by now. But you've basically got Rotherham gone. They are confirmed relegated. You've got Sheffield Wednesday, Birmingham, Huddersfield, Millwall, Plymouth, Stoke, QPR, Blackburn, and Swansea. Any 2 of that group could go down. If someone was to string some results together, it could just launch them up the table. If someone was to go on a run of defeats, it could see them just get pegged back week after week and drop down. It's setting up to be a really exciting end at the bottom and a really exciting end at the top, with Leicester, Ipswich and Leeds battling for that, the 2 automatic promotion spots, and then Norwich and Coventry and maybe Hull battling for that last playoff spot. We have a full round of games this midweek. So tonight there are 6 games, and tomorrow night there are 6 games. Sheffield Wednesday versus Norwich, Preston versus Huddersfield, Millwall versus Leicester, Plymouth versus QPR. Good opportunity for Plymouth to make distance, put distance between themselves and Huddersfield, Millwall, and Sheffield Wednesday, who all have much tougher games. Southampton versus Coventry is a huge game for Coventry, especially, and then Leeds versus Sunderland. All of those games are 7:45 kickoff, except Leeds Sunderland. That is 8 p.m. Some really good ones in there. Saints Coventry, I think, is the game of the night in terms of being the 2 best teams. But those games involving the relegation teams, really, really interesting. Leeds can go back top if they beat Sunderland. Now, it would only be likely until tomorrow night. Oh, well, to be fair, Leicester play tonight as well. So Leeds can go above Ipswich if they win tonight. If Leicester drop points, Leeds could go top again. because they've got the same goal difference, plus 43. So a Leicester defeat or draw can put Leeds top. That would be huge for them. Just the psychological aspect of it, put a bit more pressure back on Leicester. But I'd expect Leicester to go to Millwall and win. You'd expect Norwich to go to Sheffield Wednesday and win. But again, Wednesday potentially find something in that one. Preston, I would expect to beat Huddersfield. Plymouth, QPR is very hard to pick. Neither of those teams are particularly reliable. But it should be fun. Should be fun tonight in the Championship. In League One, again, there are a full round of games tonight, but we'll start with what took place at the weekend. You had Burton 0, Oxford United 4, Northampton Town 2, Carlisle 0, Exeter 1, Stevenage 0, Charlton 2, Barnsley 1, Bristol Rovers 0, Bolton 2, Portsmouth 3, Shrewsbury 1, Wigan 0, Port Vale 0, Reading 1, Lincoln 1, Blackpool 1, Cambridge 0, and Leyton Orient 3, Cheltenham 1. So, Portsmouth, 90 points from 42 games. Derby, 82 points from 42 games. And Bolton, 81 points from 42 games. Pompey now odds on to win the league. Derby and Bolton in a proper scrap for that second automatic spot. 1 point between them. Derby have a slightly better goal difference, plus 35 to plus 33. Whoever misses out there will absolutely be in the playoffs. Peterborough and Barnsley, both on 74 points. They look almost certain to finish in the playoff spots, especially considering they have games in hand on all the teams below them and the teams above them. Peterborough have 2 games in hand. Barnsley have 1. Oxford are 6th. Theirs is the playoff spot that's at risk. With Lincoln, they're 2 points behind them on 68. Same number of games played. I would be surprised if anyone else jumps up and challenges that. I think we're going to end up with Bolton or Derby plus Peterborough, Barnsley, and either Oxford or Lincoln in the playoffs. But still a lot to be decided in terms of who goes up automatically in second and who gets that last playoff spot. Then you've got Blackpool on 64, Stevenage on 64, Leyton Orient on 61, Northampton on 59, though they've played a game more than everybody, Exeter on 54, Wigan on 52, Wycombe on 51, but 2 games in hand on pretty much everybody. Bristol Rovers on 51. They've got a game in hand on most teams. Charlton on 50 from 42. Reading on 46 from 42, as are Shrewsbury. Cambridge are a point behind them, but with a game less played. Those clubs are safe. They're not going down. There are 4 teams to go. Carlisle are done. Fleetwood are very close to done. Cheltenham are interesting. They've got 38 points, but only 40 games played. Burton have 40 points, but 42 games played. Port Vale have 40 from 41 games played.
I'm Alex Rodriguez.
And I'm Jason Kelly.
From Bloomberg, this is The Deal. Each week, you'll hear us in conversation with business icons.
This show will explore deal-making across sports, media, and entertainment.
That is a harsh lesson in business.
Sports is not as simple as bringing a bunch of big names together.
I didn't want to do another stomp you out speech.
It opened up so many more doors.
The show is called The Deal.
Listen to The Deal.
Listen to The Deal on Spotify.
Hey there. Did you know Kroger always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower-than-low prices? And when you download the Kroger app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Kroger today. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Expressing your love can look many different ways. And with the right jewelry gift from Blue Nile, it can truly sparkle. Blue Nile's collection of classic diamond jewelry makes for the kind of gift that speaks volumes without saying a single word. Or switch things up with a sapphire piece sure to spark conversation. Either way, Blue Nile's Diamond Guarantee ensures you get the highest quality at the best price. Express yourself with Blue Nile, the original online jeweler, at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Now, it is conceivable that Reading, Shrewsbury or Cambridge just lose the rest of the way and they get dragged back in, but I don't think so. I think we're looking at one of Port Vale, Burton and Cheltenham staying up. And right now, it's in Cheltenham's hands. They have the games in hand. They have 2 games in hand on Burton, 1 game in hand on Port Vale. They're 2 points behind both. They have a better goal difference than both. It is in Cheltenham's hands. Fleetwood, I think, are dead and buried. They're 4 points behind Cheltenham with a game more played and a worse goal difference. They're 6 points behind Burton. Now, they have a game in hand on Burton, but they haven't won in their last 5. And like I said, Carlisle are done. We have games tonight. Cheltenham versus Carlisle and Stevenage versus Barnsley. Obviously, the Cheltenham game is huge at the bottom of the table. The chance to beat Carlisle, that would push them out of the bottom 4 rather. Win that game and you're out. So that could be huge for them. Stevenage, Barnsley, Barnsley will want the points for the playoffs. Stevenage might still have ambitions of getting in, but I just don't see it for them. Blackpool against Fleetwood, Charlton against Wigan, Bristol Rovers against Reading, and Leyton Orient against Exeter. They're all on tonight. Each of those 6 games is a 7:45 kickoff. And we'll have 2 games in that division tomorrow. Now, this is not a scheduled round of games. These are makeup games. So Cheltenham, Carlisle, and Stevenage, Barnsley, that's match day 29. Blackpool, Fleetwood, Charlton, Wigan, Bristol, Reading, and Leyton Orient, Exeter. They're match week 40 games that have been made up. And then tomorrow night's games, they're also makeup games. On to League 2. We do have games tonight, all makeup games. At the weekend, AFC Wimbledon 1, Salford City 0. It's a beautiful result. A fan-owned club versus Gary Neville's sports washing Salford City, financially doped and yet struggling. Wonderful scenes at the end as 2 Salford City players were sent off in stoppage time. Morecambe 0, Doncaster 3. Grimsby Town 1, Newport County 0. Notts County 3, Harrogate 0. Tranmere 1, Walsall 3. Accrington Stanley 0, Crewe Alexandra 0. That's a game that for nostalgic reasons is... The result obviously wasn't good. 0-0. Probably wasn't the most exciting game. But if you grew up, when I grew up, Accrington Stanley were the team off the milk ad. That's why you knew them. And Crewe was where the big clubs went to buy players when Dario Gradi was there. Now, obviously, they've become infamous for another reason, which is very, very unfortunate and horrific. But growing up in the 90s, Crewe was a club that produced a lot of players that would go on and have good Premier League careers. And when you heard of, such and such at Crewe, they've got a player there who's going to go on and become, or the top clubs are looking at him. That's when you take notice, because Crewe just had that reputation. Like, if we look back into, like, Bruce Grobbelaar was there in the late 70s, but it was more the 90s that were looking. Jeff Thomas was there, really good player. So David Platt, Craig Hignett, who was brilliant for Middlesbrough, Rob Jones, brilliant for Liverpool. Neil Lennon of Leicester and Celtic fame. Gareth Wally, really good midfield playmaker. Robbie Savage, Danny Murphy, Seth Johnson, Phil Charnock, decent player. That was sort of the end of it. As kind of we've moved into now the 2000s. But all of those players coming through there in the 90s, and it doesn't seem like a lot. I accept it doesn't seem like a lot, but it was. It was a lot for one smaller club. Ashley Westwood, who had, success at Burnley, he was there as well for a time in the late 2000s into the 2010s. I think he went there, then he went somewhere else, and then he went Villa. No, he went from them to Villa. 5 years at Villa, 6 years at Burnley, now playing in the MLS for Charlotte. But yeah, I mean, they produced a good footballer, fundamentally sound, talented footballer. There was another Ashley Westwood back in the 80s. No, sorry, in the 90s. Obviously, no relation to the later Ashley Westwood, but that's quite funny. But yeah, Danny Murphy, Robbie Savage, Gareth Wally, Neil Lennon, these were really good players. Rob Jones was a really good player. Wasn't there a striker that came through there as well? Feels to me like there was a striker that came through at some point. I just can't for the life of me remember who it was. But yeah, anyway. And for nostalgic reasons, whenever those two play, I do always keep an eye out for the results. Back to Mansfield 1, Crawley 4. Colchester 1, Wrexham 2. Paul Mullen on the score sheet again. Forest Green 0, MK Dons 2. Bradford City 1, Gillingham 0. Sutton 1, Stockport 3. And Barrow 0, Swindon Town 2. Bit of joy for Paul Sterrett in his life. Stockport are top. 80 points from 41 games. There are 3 automatic promotion spots here, remember. Wrexham are second, 74 points from 42 games. MK Dons have vaulted themselves into the automatic spots with 74 points, but they've played 43 games, whereas Mansfield below them, despite being in dreadful form, 3 defeats and a draw in their last 5 with only 1 win, they've got 73 and 41 games played. So 2 games in hand on MK Dons and a much better goal difference. Also a significant goal difference advantage on Wrexham. Now 3 points behind Wrexham, but 1 win in their game in hand on Wrexham could vault them above, or would vault them above. It'll be 3 of those 4. It'll be 3 of those 4 for automatic promotion. The rest of the playoffs then will be whichever one doesn't go up. Barrow and Crewe right now hold the 5th and 6th spots. Crawley Town are 7th. Barrow and Crewe have 67 points. Barrow have a game in hand on Crewe, 41-42. Crawley have 65 points. They've played 41. AFC Wimbledon have 62 points, but they've played 43. So they would need others above them to slip up a number of times. Walsall still have a chance, though, 62 points from 41 games. It's the same number of games as Crawley, so would just need to outperform them, and maybe they can get in. Then it's Morecambe on 60 from 42, Gillingham on 60 from 43. I think they're probably too far off. with the number of games that are left. Doncaster 58 from 41. Now, Doncaster, I think they've left it far too late, but they have won 5 in a row. They're in outstanding form. They're the most informed team in the lower leagues, in between all three. But I think they've left it too late to find this form. Harrogate, 58 from 42. Bradford, 57 from 42. Notts County and Newport, 55 from 42. Tranmere, 51 from 43. Accrington Stanley, 51 from 41. And Crewe, 50 from 42. They're all safe. Salford, almost certainly safe. They're 9 points clear of Colchester, who sit 23rd. Salford have 47. Grimsby have 43. Sutton have 39. Colchester have 38. Forest Green have 36. But where the discrepancy is games played. Salford have played 43 games. Grimsby 41. Sutton 43. Colchester only 40. Forest Green 36. With Sutton having played the same amount of games as Salford, and Salford being 8 points clear of them, Salford will be fine, unfortunately. Grimsby, they should be okay, I think. 2 games in hand on Sutton and a 4-point lead. They should be okay. So it looks like it will come down to Sutton or Colchester to join Forest Green in heading down. Colchester have 3 games in hand on Sutton and 2 in hand on Forest Green, which is why I think Forest Green are pretty much cooked. I think it's going to be Sutton and Forest Green going down. We have a battle for the final playoff spot and a battle for the second spot to find out who's going up automatically with Stockport. On to the National League. Oh, sorry, we have games tonight. All of these games are 7:45 kickoffs. So makeup game from match day 14 only been put together now. Mansfield against Forest Green. From match day 18, Doncaster versus Walsall and Morecambe versus Crewe. Match day 27, Newport versus Accrington Stanley. Match day 29, Harrogate versus Grimsby. Match day 30, Wrexham versus Crawley. Match day 35, Barrow versus Bradford was meant to be on. It's been postponed again. Match day 36, Colchester versus Stockport. So we might have a clearer picture tomorrow. All of those games are 7:45 kickoffs. National League. They've got makeup games this week as well. But at the weekend, Oldham 1, Rochdale 1, York City 0, Eastleigh 1, Bournemouth 4, Wheelstone 0, Maidenhead 2, Barnet 2, Woking 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 2, Ebbsfleet 2, Field, I still don't know, 1, Hartlepool 2, Aldershot 0, Dorking 0, Altrincham 0, Kidderminster Harriers 0, Halifax Town 2. So, Chesterfield, I can only assume they just gave up having secured promotion and just decided they couldn't be arsed anymore. But they've got 95 points. They're 16 points clear with 3 games to go. They've won 1 of their last 5 with 3 defeats. They've been secured for ages, but they could have set a historic points total. They were so dominant for so much of the season. Barnet, 79 points. They'll be in the playoffs. Bromley, 74 points. They should be in the playoffs. Altrincham, 71 points. They have reason to be worried. So, Chesterfield and Barnet have played 43 games. Okay, that's fine. Bromley have played 42. Altrincham have played 44. Solihull Moors are a point behind them. They've got a game in hand on them. Then Gateshead are 2 points behind, but with 3 games in hand. Even Halifax are 5 points behind, but have 2 games in hand. So Altrincham have a bit of a battle to hold on to a playoff spot. Barnet and Bromley, I think, will be in. And then I think it comes down to Altrincham, Solihull Moors, Gateshead, Halifax, and maybe even Aldershot if results elsewhere break for them. But it's a long shot for them, I think, because they've played the same number of games as Solihull and are 5 points back from them. Most likely, Halifax, who have that game in hand, and Gateshead, who have 2 games in hand on Solihull and 3 in hand on Altrincham. They're the 2 I think could jump in. 9th place is Oldham, 61 from 43. Southend, 59 from 43. Rochdale, 57 from 43. Hartlepool, 56 from 43. Dagenham, 54 from 44. Eastleigh, 53 from 43. Field, 52 from 43. Woking, 52 from 44. Maidenhead, 52 from 44. Maidenhead have played 43. Ebbsfleet, 52 from 42. York, 50 from 44. Wheelstone, losers of 4 straight, 47 from 41. Boreham Wood, 47 from 43. Kidderminster, 46 from 44. Dorking, 44 from 43. It's between Wheelstone, Boreham Wood, Kidderminster and Dorking for the second relegation spot. And I'm almost certain it's 2 that go down. Oxford City are done and dusted. They've got 32 points in 43 games. Tonight, Wheelstone against Southend from match day 30. From 33, it's Gateshead versus Aldershot. Rochdale versus Boreham Wood has been postponed. From 38, Solihull Moors against Ebbsfleet and Barnet against Bromley. From 39, Maidenhead against Hartlepool. Halifax Oldham is tomorrow night. That's also from 39. From 35, Wheelstone against Dorking is Thursday. And from 43, Filed against Gateshead, also Thursday. All of those are 7:45 kickoffs on the respective nights. But this is a league campaign that is almost over. It will be over on the 20th of April, and we'll have a lot more clarity. Then we will go to break. We'll come back with some jaunting around Europe and some madness from Europe. See you after this.
Tired of struggling just for your customers to notice you? Your business needs Constant Contact. Constant Contact's award-winning marketing platform has helped millions of small businesses stand out, stay top of mind, and see big results. With powerful tools like email, SMS, social media, and events, you'll say the right thing at the right time to sell more, raise more, and fast-track growth. Plus, everything's backed by Constant Contact's expert live customer support. So get going and growing with Constant Contact today. Try it free at ConstantContact.com.
Tired of ads interfering with your favorite sports podcasts? Good news. Ad-free listening is available on Amazon Music for all the music plus top podcasts included with your Prime membership. Stay ahead of the game by downloading the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/sports ad free. That's amazon.com/sports ad free to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Right, welcome back. So let's run around Europe then. We will start in Serie A. Salernitana 2, Sassuolo 0 on Friday night. On Saturday, Milan 3, Lecce 0. Roma 1, Lazio 0 in the Rome derby. Gianluca Mancini with the only goal there. Empoli 3, Torino 2. Frosinone 0, Bologna 0 was the kickoff game for Sunday. Monza 2, Napoli 4. Napoli finally with something to cheer about. Verona 1, Genoa 2. Albert Gudmundsson continuing his strong season. Cagliari 2, Atalanta 1. Disappointing for Atalanta, who went 1-0 up and needed the points. and Juventus 1, Fiorentina 0 was the final game on Sunday. Last night, Udinese 1, Inter 2. Fratesi with a late winner for Inter, who'd gone 1-0 behind. Lazar Samrzic had scored to put Udinese 1 up. Çalhanoğlu equalised in the penalty spot, and Fratesi gave Inter the win. So, with 7 games left, Inter are 14 points clear. The title is going to be theirs. Milan are second. Juve are 6 points behind Milan in third, and Bologna are a further 4 points behind Juve in fourth. That is the Champions League spots as currently stands, but Roma are definitely making a push here. They're only 3 points behind Bologna, same number of games played. It's a 5-point gap to Atalanta, but they do have a game in hand. That game in hand is against Fiorentina. Napoli are 2 points behind Atalanta. Lazio are 2 points behind Napoli. Torino are 2 points behind Lazio, and Fiorentina are 1 point behind Torino on 43 points from 30 games, with a game in hand on everybody above them, bar Atalanta. So, Inter are going to win the league. Milan will be Champions League. Juve will be Champions League, and I think it will come down to Bologna or Roma for that last spot. Roma will almost certainly be in Europe for next year, and Atalanta, I would guess, though Napoli could potentially overhaul them, will get the final European spot, because I think there will be 6 there. Below Fiorentina, we have Monza on 42, Genoa on 38. Great return to the top flight for them. They will be in Serie A next year. But below them, everybody is nervous. You've got Cagliari on 30, Lecce on 29, Udinese on 28, Empoli on 28, Verona on 27, Frosinone on 26, and Sassuolo on 25. You have 5 points separating 7 teams, 2 of whom have to go down. Salernitana are done. Forget about them. They're gone. It is 2 from 7 to go down. As of right now, you would say Frosinone and Sassuolo have been the worst so far, so in all likelihood that continues. But again, you just never know. Teams go on runs at the end of seasons that you're just not expecting. We will jump to Spain. There were no league games in La Liga over the weekend, but we did get the Copa del Rey final, and it delivered. Athletic Club 1, Mallorca 1. Dani Rodriguez put Mallorca 1 up on 21 minutes. Ohan Sanset, one of the homegrown talents, made it 1-1 on 50. Extra time could not separate these teams. To penalties we went, and drama we got. So, Maruki puts Mallorca 1 up. Raul Garcia, longtime warhorse of Syria, of La Liga, equalises. Manu Morlanes misses. Iker Muniain, one of the players that turned down more moves than anyone I can remember, suffered through injuries, but still battled on and has become a legend at Athletic Club. He scores. Nemanja Radonjic, he misses for Mallorca. Mikel Vesga scores. It's now 3-1. Antonio Sanchez scores for Mallorca. It's 3-2. But Alejandro Romero scores the 4th and final penalty for Athletic Club, who win the Copa del Rey. Their first proper silverware in 40 years. Absolutely magnificent scenes. Couldn't have happened to a better club. I do feel for Mallorca, who gave their everything in the final and have a lot of likeable players, but you have to be thrilled for Athletic Club because they do it properly. There's a lot of well-run clubs. There's nobody that runs themselves the way they do. And I just couldn't be happier for them. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And seeing so many academy graduates be part of that, and players that came through their academy, left and came back. Absolutely magnificent. Thrilled for them, and congrats to them. In France at the weekend, Lille 3, Marseille 1. Jonathan David continued his great season. Remy Kabaya and Gabriel Goodmanson with the others. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang scoring for Marseille. Lens 1, Le Havre 1. PSG 1, Clermont Foot 1. Brest 4, Metz 3. That was a really exciting end to that game. It was all over on 60 minutes. Brest were 4-1 up. And then Metz kicked into life, scoring twice and almost grabbing an equaliser. Toulouse 0, Strasbourg 0, Montpellier 2, Lorient 0, Reims 0, Nice 0, Monaco 1, Rennes 0. Turned out to be a bit of a damn squib of a game, but both sides ended with 10 men. Nantes 1, Lyon 3. Nantes were 1 up. Lyon scored twice in 2 minutes to go ahead, and then Gift Urban got a late goal to wrap things up. With 6 games left, PSG are 10 points clear. So the league title is over. Brest, Monaco, and Lille are competing for the 2 Champions League spots to go with PSG. The other will get Europa League. And then one of Nice, Lens, Reims, Marseille, Rennes, or Lyon will end up in the Conference League. Lyon have really turned their season around. Still not particularly good, but much, much better than they were. It's an 8-point gap from them. They said 10th. They could, and they're still in with a battle for, with a good chance, a decent chance of Conference League. It would take other teams continuing to collapse, but Nice have collapsed. Lens are very inconsistent. Reims are inconsistent. Marseille don't seem to want to win games, and Rennes kind of the same. So Lyon just need to continue chugging away the way they have been. Then it's a 5-point gap to Toulouse, then Strasbourg, Montpellier. They're all safe, I think. I think it comes down to Le Havre, Nantes, and Lorient for the relegation playoff spot. I think Metz are gone. I think Clermont Foot are gone. So, it's just that playoff spot. But I'll tell you one thing, somebody is going to get an unbelievable bargain this summer if they go shopping at Metz and pick up Lamine Camara. That kid is genuinely a special talent. To the Bundesliga, where it's over. I mean, it is over. Gladbach 0, Freiburg 3. Eintracht 0, Union Berlin 0. Leverkusen 2, Hoffenheim 1. Yet another late turnaround from Leverkusen. 1-0 down to Max Bayer's goal. 88-minute Robert Andrich scores. 91st minute Patrick Schick scores. And Leverkusen sneak out another one. Werder Bremen 0, Wolfsburg 2. That was a painful watch. It's a decent game until Anthony Young was sent off. And then it just became what it became. Leipzig 0, Mainz. I'm looking at the wrong results. I am looking at the wrong results. I am an idiot. I was looking at the week before. Eintracht 1, Werder 1. Freiburg 1, Leipzig 4. Mainz 4, Darmstadt 0. Cologne 2, Bochum 1. Heidenheim 3, Bayern Munich 2. So Kane and Gnabry scored to put Bayern 2-0 up. Sessa and Kleindienst with 2 gave Heidenheim a shock win and handed the title gift-wrapped to Leverkusen. They were going to win it anyway. But, I mean, Leverkusen are not playing well at the moment, but they're just winning every single week. Teams are either running out of steam or, in this case, as has been the case in a bunch of games recently, having a player sent off early. Robin Gosens this time sent off. Florian Wirtz scores a penalty 5 minutes later in stoppage time at the end of the first half. And while Leverkusen dominated the second half, they didn't produce anything of real note. Dortmund 0, Stuttgart 1. Massive win for Stuttgart. Guirassy with the only goal of the game. Hoffenheim 3, Augsburg 1. Wout Weghorst on the score sheet there. And Wolfsburg 1, Borussia Mönchengladbach 3. Go back. There we go. Interesting. Right, table. Leverkusen 16 points clear with 6 games to go. One more win and it's over. One more win and it's over. Or one more drop point by Bayern and it's over. Stuttgart have now caught Bayern. They're behind on goal difference, but they're level on points. Bayern have lost 6 games this year. I mean, that just doesn't happen to them. As bad as they've been in other seasons, they just don't lose 6 games. Last year, they were garbage and won the league title on goal difference because Dortmund choked on the final day. But Bayern only lost 5 all season. The year before, they lost 5. The year before, they lost 4. The year before, they lost 4. The year before, they lost 4. The year before that, they lost 4. The year before that, they lost 2. The year before that, they lost 2. And the year before that, they lost 5. This is as bad a Bayern team as I can remember. Like, even when Dortmund won the titles, I don't think they were this bad. Stuttgart on 60 looks like they're going to lock up a Champions League spot, along with Bayern and Leverkusen, obviously. And then Leipzig have climbed above Dortmund on goal difference. Dortmund's defeat at the weekend, not ideal. Then it's Eintracht Frankfurt, 11 points back. So it's between Leipzig and Dortmund for that final spot. Eintracht will end up in one of the European competitions because the 6-point gap from them to Augsburg, you wouldn't expect them to collapse like that. Augsburg, Hoffenheim and Freiburg all level on points. Heidenheim on 33, really good season for them. Gladbach on 31, very disappointing season for them. Werder on 31, we're taking any season of survival. First point after a bunch of successive defeats. Union Berlin on 29. Wolfsburg on 28. Bochum on 26. And then Mainz or Cologne. One of them will go automatically down. One of them will go into the relegation playoff. Darmstadt are automatically gone. In Portugal, we had one of the biggest games in Europe over the weekend, but we'll get to it. Farense 2, Boa Vista 0. Rio Ave 3, Gil Vicente 0. Famalicão 3, Vizela 2. Braga 0, Arouca 3, big upset there. Chaves 2, Portimonense 3. Porto 1, Vitória 2. Massive, massive win away from home for Vitória. Morenz 2, Estrela 2. Casapia 0, Estoril 0. But the big one, Sporting 2, Benfica 1. Catamo put Sporting 1 up in the first minute. Alex Ba equalised in stoppage time at the end of the first half. But in stoppage time, Katama scores the winner. Sporting beat Benfica to go 4 points clear at the top with the game in hand. Now, Benfica have 6 games left, so Sporting have 7. Benfica's run-in is easier, I would say, but they are also having to deal with European competition. They're obviously in the Europa League quarterfinals. They face Marseille this Thursday night. Sporting don't have to deal with that. Sporting play Gil Vicente, then Famalicão in their game in hand. Win the next 2, they'll be 7 points clear at least. At least. Benfica you would expect to win at home to Morenz, but I mean, Morenz are 6th. They're no scrubs. And that game is in between the games against Marseille. So if they have to rest and rotate, potentially they drop points there. And Sporting could win their next 2 and all of a sudden be 9 or 10 points clear. with 5 games left, at which point it's as good as over. I think if they get to 7, it's as good as over anyway. They've been by far the best team in Portugal this year. They've scored by far the most goals. They've got the 3rd best defensive record as well. Their goal difference is miles ahead of everybody else. They've just been tremendous. They also have a cup final against Porto to look forward to as well. Well, but no, sorry, I say that. There's a second leg to be played. So Vitória potentially, off the back of beating them there in the league, potentially Vitória could sneak that one out. I have doubts, but we'll see. I expect it to be Porto in the final against Sporting in what would be Amarim's last game as Sporting manager. The wildest thing that took place at the weekend, though, took place in Turkey. So for those that aren't aware, there was a game between Galatasaray and Fenerbahce at the weekend, the Turkish Super Cup final. Now, this game was meant to be played in December in Saudi Arabia. The teams refused to play because the Saudis wouldn't allow them to play their national anthem, I believe, and also wouldn't allow them to display banners about, a historic leader in their country. So the game never took place. So it was to take place this weekend. Fenerbahce basically sent out their under-18 team. The game kicks off. Galatasaray score immediately. Literally kick off, 16 passes. Icardi scores within the first 70 seconds. And then within a minute, the Fenerbahce players walk off the pitch. Just insane scenes. Now, it's been said that they had let everybody know they were going to do it beforehand. So Galatasaray were aware this was taking place. Fenerbahce are protesting their treatment at the hands of the Turkish FA following a recent pitch invasion in which players were attacked, and they've got a couple of other things that they're griping about as well. So it seems like Galatasaray fully supported the decision for them to walk off, because Galatasaray had basically their own reserves all there ready to play, and they played a first team versus reserves game to give the fans who'd paid money a game to watch, but only in Turkey. Madness. Right, we'll leave it there. We'll come back after this break. I am an idiot, and I just realised that I did not go to Scotland, where there was a huge game at the weekend. Livingston 0, Aberdeen 0, Kilmarnock 1, Ross County 0, Dundee 2, Motherwell 3, St Mirren 1, Hearts 2, Hibs 1, St Johnstone 2. The big one, of course, being the Old Firm, Rangers 3, Celtic 3. Celtic went 2-0 up. Maeda in the first minute, Tavernier, lack of pace, ball played in behind him. Maeda's on to it. Tavernier gets there first, despite having had the 15-yard head start. He gets there just before Maeda tries to clear it. Maeda goes to block the clearance and blocks it into the net from 25 yards. Madness. Matt O'Reilly on 34 minutes with a penalty made it 2. James Tavernier equalised on 55 from the penalty spot. Sorry, didn't equalise, put them back in it. Abdullah Sima equalised on 86. Adam Adey put Celtic back in front on 87. And then Rabi Matondo with a worldie on 93. Brendan Rodgers bottling an Old Firm. Yeah, not great. Celtic are top, only 1 point clear of Rangers. And the goal difference is plus 51 for Celtic, plus 50 for Rangers. They do have to play again, I believe. I should really look into these things. I'm almost certain they do. They're 15 points clear of Hearts anyway. Then Kilmarnock, St Mirren, Dundee, Hibernian, Motherwell, Aberdeen, St Johnstone, Ross County, and Livingston are dead and buried. Scottish Championship, sure, why not? Have ourselves a bit of a look and see how our friend and comrade Big Dunk got on this weekend. Inverness, Caledonian Thistle won a game of football. They won a game of football. Wallace Duffy and Alex Samuel giving them a 2-1 win over 10-man Arbroath. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Arbroath are the only team below Inverness in the league. So maybe not a surprise they did manage to win that, though they did need them to go down to 10 men to win. So clearly not great, but congrats to Big Dunk on that one. And I did also miss out the chance to gleefully point out that Ajax got their arses kicked at the weekend. Sparta Rotterdam 1, Heracles 2. PSV 5, AZ Alkmaar 1. Zwolle 2, Excelsior 1. 22 for Fortuna. Sittard 1. Vitesse 0, NEC 3. Feyenoord 6, Ajax 0. 6. Game was over by halftime, 3-0. But just to be mean, Feyenoord came out and nabbed 3 more in the first 20 minutes of the second half, just to compound the misery for Ajax, who are awful. Go Ahead 1, Almere 1, Volendam 3, Walwick 2, Heerenveen 2, Utrecht 3. PSV are 9 points clear with 5 games left. Feyenoord are 9 points clear of 20. So Feyenoord will be Champions League next year. 20 will be Europa League, and AZ Alkmaar will be in the Conference League in all likelihood. They are 5 points clear of NEC, who are a point ahead of woeful Ajax. It wouldn't surprise me if Ajax finish like 8th. Go Ahead and Utrecht are only 3 points behind them, and Ajax are just lost at the moment. And Utrecht are in pretty decent form. Go Ahead less so, but Ajax are just rotten. Absolutely rotten to watch at the moment. No Henderson for them in that game, though, so I don't even get to laugh at that. So what are they bringing to my life? You know, what are they actually bringing to my life? Eric Dyer has said he believes he should be in the England squad. Eric, unfortunately, other people watch the game and you're dreadful. So no. Cristiano Ronaldo, once again coasting his team, sent off in the Cup semi-final as Al Nazir lost 2-1 to Al Hilal for swinging his elbow twice into the chest of an opponent. Absolutely the right decision to send him off. And while he might continue to score goals, he continues to prove that it's all about him and not the team. Al Ittihad are prepared to offer 70 million for Mohamed Salah. They'll be laughed at. Chelsea want to secure a £43 million deal for Nico Williams of Athletic Bilbao before the transfer window opens. I don't think Bilbao will agree to that because he has a buyout clause and also because they'll want maximum value. Manchester City have agreed terms with Lucas Paqueta. Remains to be seen if that's true. Liverpool have offered Ruben Amorim a 3-year contract to replace Jurgen Klopp. Very exciting. West Ham, Liverpool, Tottenham and Aston Villa. And AC Milan want Fulham defender Tosin Adarabioyo. Liverpool, Newcastle and AC Milan are considering a move for Crescencio Somerville. I would throw that one in a bin, pour in a load of petrol and light it on fire because it's from Jack Talbot. Chelsea are not interested in Atletico Paranaense goalkeeper Bento. Okay. Borussia Dortmund are interested in Johan Bakayoko, who's also a target for Burnley and Brentford. Everton defender Jarrett Brantwaite says he's blocking out the noise about his future amid interest from Manchester United and Real Madrid. Real can't afford him this summer, but if he hangs on a year, maybe they take him next summer. Felipe Anderson is close to agreeing a deal with Juve. I mean, this is why Juve aren't going to be anywhere close to what they used to be for a while. Real Betis manager Manuel Pellegrini has not met with Roma about taking over as coach. He recently visited Rome on a family holiday. If he's at all religious, that's why he went to Rome, went to the Vatican, did the things people do. Paris Saint-Germain have not given up hope of signing Gavi. despite his $1 billion buyout and the fact that he's out with a torn ACL. But, you know, it is what it is. Right, folks, that's me for today. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Have a pleasant evening. I have not even mentioned that we have Champions League games tonight. So, very, very quickly, let's have a look at these. Arsenal take on hapless Bayern Munich at 8 p.m. Gunners are in great form. Bayern are in dreadful form. Gunners are at home. Arsenal should win that game quite comfortably. Real Madrid home to Man City. This one is far more interesting. Real, obviously clear at the top of La Liga. City currently sitting third in the Premier League, but I still make them favourites to win the Premier League. City knocked them out last year. Real, obviously are Real. They have incredible stature, incredible culture in this competition, incredible history, obviously, as well. I think that is a very tough game for Man City. I think Real might sneak that one, but I do think City advance from the tie. So we will go... We'll go 3-1 Arsenal and 2-1 Real Madrid. Right. That'll do. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Social Podcast Network.